Students were learning about chemical reactions, and we started just learning the basic chemical reactions by blowing stuff up using dry ice and water bottles. We also were able to do simple chemical reactions and break them down, what was happening and what they were seeing, by using vinegar and baking soda, Mentos and Coke. And the kids were able to connect those to real life, and they were able to then see what kind of things they're looking for when they have chemical reactions versus physical reactions. After that, we did a Jello lab where they were making procedures based off of what steps you have to do to make Jello, and then they analyzed what actually goes into making Jello and the chemical reactions and the physical reactions that have to take place to have that end result. Now the kids have set up their own experiments by asking questions about Jello that we didn't already analyze, and they have set up their own investigations, their own procedures, their own variables. They've discussed in their teams what they needed to bring in today. They're putting that all together by actually participating in the experiment that they did. Some students are basing their experiment off of taste. Some students are basing their experiment off of how well the gelatin sets up, off of fruit juices, off of many different cool things that they've thought of. I had one group even talked about putting Windex into the Jello. So they are really understanding how gelatin works and how chemical reactions happen every day in our cooking, and then they're really becoming innovative and in tune with their own labs.
Okay, right now we are experimenting with Jello, like other than water. So instead of using water as the liquid, we're going to use orange juice. So to see, and we made a question, if do we think Jello will set different if it has a different liquid? So we're using orange juice, and we're going to wait till tomorrow to see if it sets any difference.
To see like different effects and results, because we want to see if it's going to affect the taste and the texture of the Jello. And that's really about it. That's what we're going to mainly do.
Students are able to utilize different forms of technology in my class, and they're able to utilize things like cell phones and text messaging and being able to talk with their teammates. They're also able to utilize email and Word documents and Excel sheets to be able to communicate with teammates. They're also able to communicate with teams that are in their class period, but across grade levels without having to actually meet them, by utilizing things like Google Documents, by utilizing things like our student email here at Dysart, utilizing their Excel sheets to put their observations and their recording down. We also utilize sites that allow them to post their texts onto the sites, as well as pictures, text pictures, and that allows for conversations to happen in class that wouldn't be able to be happening in class if we didn't have that technology. Students had the choice of not only the experiment that they did, but the way that they were going to publish their information. And so they were able to utilize whatever technology they knew was available to them, and whatever technology I was able to introduce to them, and they were able to choose that means of publication.
We have chosen Google Docs so we can record all of our procedures and information online, and everybody can access to it.
Our group has chosen to use Microsoft Word so we can email it to the rest of our group.
The students will do a final project after this, and they will develop their own TV series based off of the TV series Good Eats on Food Network by Alton Brown. Alton Brown takes cooking and utilizes chemistry to explain how chemical reactions take place in his cooking. And students will use that same method, but they will be able to choose any form of publication of that video that they wish. So they can use a video camera to record, and they can use things like video editors to edit their video to make it look more professional, something that would be on Food Network. They can utilize VoiceThread and utilize pictures and video. They can use Photo Story and utilize pictures and voiceovers to be able to feel comfortable in the way that they're explaining their recipe, and they get to choose their own recipe. And there's a series of websites that I'm helping them out with to choose their recipe. So if they didn't already have a recipe, they'll have a starting point with what kind of recipe is good to explain chemical reactions.
1/2 cup of milk, and stir it all up.